"Mom, what did you do?" I shouted, anger bubbling inside me like a pot of boiling water. Leela's voice quivered as she rushed into the kitchen. My heart raced. I couldn't believe it. My $80,000 college savings, gone just like that. My mom stood by the stove, stirring a pot of spaghetti. She didn't even turn around. "I did what I had to do, Leela." Her voice was calm, too calm. "What do you mean? You had no right. That money was for my future." I felt the tears sting my eyes. She finally turned to face me, arms crossed. "Ethan needed it for his startup. It's a sure thing. You'll see the benefits. It's for the whole family." "Benefits? What about my dream? What about college? I've worked so hard for that money." I could hardly breathe. The walls felt like they were closing in. My dad walked in, his eyes wide. "What's going on?" I shot him a desperate look. "Dad, you can't let her do this. Why didn't you say anything?" He stood there, quiet as always. I just didn't want to choose sides," he finally said, glancing at my mom. Choosing sides, I felt the betrayal cut deep. "You should have stood up for me," I screamed, pointing at him. "Leela, please calm down," my dad said, his tone soothing but unhelpful. "Calm down, are you serious?" I snapped. "You both did this to me, my life is falling apart." "You can still go to college, Leela," my mom insisted, like it was simple. "Just give it time. Once Ethan's business takes off, we'll have more than enough." "More than enough," I laughed, but it was a harsh sound. "What if it doesn't work? You just tossed my future away like it didn't matter." For a moment, the room was silent. My heart thumped loudly in my chest. I wished Maya were here. She'd know what to say. "Leela," Mom said softly, finally showing a hint of her own pain. "I thought I was helping. I thought I was doing what was best." "Best for who? Ethan, what about me?" I yelled. My head throbbed with the weight of my emotions. "They're your family, Leela. You need to support them," my dad said, his voice wobbly. "Support them? By losing everything I've worked for? What kind of family does that?" I felt the tears spill over, hot and angry. I turned around, my heart racing with determination. I quickly grabbed a backpack from my room. I didn't know where I was going, but I couldn't stay here. Not like this. "Leela, please," my mom called, panic creeping into her voice. But I wouldn't listen. I felt numb as I stuffed clothes into my bag, each piece a reminder of the life I was leaving behind. "Leela, don't go," Dad shouted, standing at the doorway, his expression filled with regret. "I have to. I can't be here with you too," I cried, tears streaming down my face. "I can't." With one last look at the only home I'd ever known, I stepped outside. The night air hit me like a cold slap. I didn't know what awaited me, but I knew I couldn't turn back. Not now, not ever. In that moment, I understood one thing: I had to take control of my life. I would rise again, no matter what it took. Moving in with Maya was like stepping into a warm hug. Her parents welcomed me with open arms. "Leela, we're so glad you're here," her mom said, wrapping her arms around me. "Thanks, Mrs. Johnson," I mumbled, still feeling the ache of my last home behind me. "Just make yourself at home. You're family now," Maya added with a smile. Those words made my heart feel a little lighter. As the days passed, late-night conversations became our routine. We'd sit on her bed, surrounded by posters and fairy lights, and talk about everything. One night I sighed deeply. "Maya, I feel so lost. It's not just about the money." "What do you mean?" she asked, her curly hair bouncing as she turned to me. "It's Ethan. I always felt like I was in his shadow." I looked down at my hands, twisting my fingers together. I worked so hard to get good grades, but he got all the attention for that stupid startup. Maya frowned. "You're not second best, Leela. You are amazing. You're so much more than him." "But that's not how my parents see it," I said, sadness clawing at my throat. "It was always about Ethan, always." "Well, that needs to change," Maya said. "You have dreams and you can achieve them. You just have to focus on what's next." "What's next?" I asked. It felt so overwhelming. "Finishing high school. You need to stay strong, Leela." "I don't know if I can," I whispered, feeling the weight of my world on my shoulders. "You can. I believe in you. We'll make a plan." Maya's eyes sparkled with determination. You can take 2 part-time jobs. I'll help you find them. This way you'll save up for college and keep your grades up. 2 jobs, my stomach nodded, thinking of the long hours. But that sounds exhausting. It will be, but you want your independence, right? I do, I said, realizing the fire in my heart was still there. Then let's do this, she cheered, fist bumping me. You're going to show everyone what you're made of. With Maya's support, I started searching for jobs. I found one at a local cafe and another at a bookstore. I worked weekends and evenings, balancing my homework in between shifts. I'm so tired, I groaned one night after a long shift at the cafe. You're doing great, though, Maya said, sliding a plate of cookies my way. Thanks, but I feel like I'm going to collapse any time, I admitted, my eyes heavy. You need to make sure you rest too, she urged. Your grades are important. We can do this together. After weeks of hard work, my grades started to improve. I felt proud, even if my exhaustion coated each day. One Friday, I stood in front of the mirror after a long week, wearing my kitchen uniform from the cafe. You can do this, Leela, I told myself. That weekend, I barely had time to breathe. I rushed from one job to the next, and then it happened. I bumped into Ethan while delivering pastries. Leela, he looked shocked to see me. What are you doing here? I challenged, my heart racing with mixed feelings. I'm working too. I guess we both have to make our way now, he replied, his face full of uncertainty. Yeah, well, I'm making mine without Mom and Dad, I said, trying to stay strong. As I walked away, I felt a mix of pride and anger. I was finding my way. I was getting stronger. I wasn't going to let anyone decide my future for me again. And that made all the difference. A year passed quickly. I worked nonstop and my body screamed for a break, but I pushed through. Every single penny mattered. At school, the weight of my books felt lighter somehow. I was excelling in my classes. One day, as I sat in economics class, Mr. Thompson paused during his lecture. Leela, he said, catching my attention, can I have a word with you after class? I felt a mix of curiosity and dread. Sure, I said, my heart starting to race. When the bell rang, I approached his desk. What's up, Mr. Thompson? He smiled gently. I've been really impressed with your work ethic. You've come so far. Thanks, I'm just trying to do my best, I replied, a bit shy. I'd like to talk to you about a scholarship, he continued, leaning forward. It's specifically for students facing financial hardships. It could really help with college. Really, a scholarship? My heart leaped. Yes, the deadline is coming up soon. You should apply. He handed me a flyer. I couldn't believe it. This could be my chance. Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson, I said, excitement bubbling up. Just remember to stay focused on your studies, he reminded me with a wink. As I walked home, I thought about how far I had come. I was gaining control. I was finally moving toward my dreams, but then rumors started reaching me. I overheard students talking about Ethan's startup. Did you hear? It's struggling. A real disaster, one girl whispered. Yeah, I heard they're running out of money, another replied. A part of me felt vindicated. I wanted to say, what goes around comes around. But another part felt heavy with concern. Ethan was my brother. Later that week, I was wiping down tables at the cafe after a long day. I was exhausted, but I couldn't stop thinking about the scholarship. Suddenly, the door swung open. My stomach dropped when I saw him, Ethan. His once bright eyes were now dark and stressed. Leela, he called, rushing over. Ethan, my heart raced. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you, he pleaded, panting slightly as if he had run here. I don't want to hear it, I said sharply, wiping my hands on my apron. Please just give me a moment. His voice cracked, desperation leaking through. I frowned, crossing my arms. You don't get to just show up after everything you did. My heart pounded in anger. Leela, I messed up, I know that, but I want to explain. He stepped closer, looking haggard, almost lost. Explain what? How you ruined my future? How you tore this family apart? I snapped, my feelings pouring out. I didn't intend for things to turn out this way, he shouted, frustration spilling over. I thought it was a good investment. But it wasn't, I replied, my voice trembling. And you didn't even ask me, you put your dreams above mine. I get that now, okay? He backed away, his hands running through his hair. I'm drowning out here, I just wanted to make things right. I shook my head, tears threatening to fall. No, Ethan, you made your choices. I don't want to be part of your mess anymore. Leela, please don't shut me out, he begged, his face pale. I have to focus on my life now, I said firmly. I can't help you, not now, please leave. He stared at me, hurt flashing across his face. I felt my heart break a little. Leela, he whispered. Just go, Ethan, I said, feeling my voice crack. He turned and walked away, shoulders slumped. I felt emptiness inside me. I couldn't help but wonder if I was doing the right thing. But as I picked up a rag and started cleaning again, I remembered my scholarship flyer. I had to keep moving forward. No matter how hard things got, I had to make my own path. The next week dragged on. I felt Ethan's presence lurking everywhere, a shadow I wanted to shake off. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't stop. Sure enough, after economics class on Thursday, I spotted him waiting outside the door. My heart sank. Leela, he said, stepping in front of me, blocking my way. I need to talk to you. Please just hear me out. I hesitated. What do you want, Ethan? My voice was steady, but inside I felt uncertain. I can't keep this to myself anymore. It's bad, he said, his voice shaky. My startup, it failed. Catastrophically, I lost everything. My stomach churned. What do you mean? I mean, I burned through your college fund. And now, Mom and Dad are in debt because of me. Tears welled in his eyes. My heart raced. I felt anger rising like a wave. You did what? I nearly shouted. How could you let this happen? I don't know, he cried, his voice breaking. I got so caught up in my dreams. I thought I could change things for all of us. I didn't think it would come to this. Of course you didn't. My fists clenched at my sides. You never think things through, you only thought of yourself. I know that now, he said slowly, pain etched across his face. I should have fought against Mom when she took your money. I was too weak. Too weak, I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and pity. You stole my future, and for what? Some dreams that didn't even come true. He dropped his eyes to the floor, ashamed. I was wrong, Leela. I see that. I wish I could take it all back. You can't, I whispered, a lump forming in my throat. You ruined everything. As I looked at my brother, I felt torn inside. Part of me wanted to be angry forever, but part of me felt compassion. I wish, Ethan started, looking up at me with watery eyes. I wish I could fix it. I never wanted to hurt you. Don't, just don't. I turned away, my emotions swirling. No more excuses. I couldn't bear to look at him, so I turned and walked down the hall, my heart heavy. When I got home, I found Maya curled up on her bed, reading. I flopped down beside her and let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. What happened? She asked, sensing my turmoil. I groaned, covering my face with my hands. Ethan's startup failed. He lost everything, my college fund. It's all gone. Maya sat up, her eyes wide. Oh no, Leela, I'm so sorry. I can't believe it. I felt the weight of despair. They're in debt because of him. Everything is falling apart. Did he apologize? She asked gently. Yeah, but what good does that do? It's too late. I felt tears threaten to spill again. Maya wrapped her arm around me. Leela, listen. You are not responsible for his mistakes. You have the chance to create your own life now. I just don't feel like I deserve it, I whispered, thinking about the scholarship. You do, Maya insisted, her voice firm. You've worked so hard this past year. Don't let their mistakes define you. You have every right to apply for that scholarship. I shook my head, feeling unworthy. But what if I fail? What if they say no? Then you try again, she said, her eyes shining with determination. You are so much more than what your family has done. You're stronger than all of this. I thought about her words, feeling a flicker of hope. You really believe that? Of course I do, she said with a smile. You've come so far, you've leveled up in life while they've struggled. You're the hero of your story, Leela. Now go out and prove it. Tears filled my eyes, but this time they were bittersweet. Maybe I could do this. I took a deep breath and nodded. Okay, I said, feeling a spark of determination rise within me. I'll apply for the scholarship. Maya hugged me tight, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like I could breathe again. I was ready to take control. I was ready to fight for my future. I sat in my dorm room staring at the acceptance letter from the state university. I did it! I shouted, almost scaring Maya, who was sitting on the floor next to me. You really did, she cheered, jumping up to hug me. But as I read the fine print, my excitement faded a bit. It's only covering part of my expenses, I said, feeling the weight of reality sinking in. Maya frowned. That's tough, but you can work through it like before, right? Yeah, I guess, I replied, forcing a smile. I'm used to it. College was a whirlwind. I juggled classes, studying, and 2 part-time jobs, but I found joy in a new project. I started developing an innovative financial planning app for students like me, those who faced tough times and needed guidance. This is going to be amazing, Maya said one afternoon as I excitedly showed her my sketches. Do you really think so? I asked, biting my lip. It feels personal, like it's coming from every struggle I've faced. It is, that's what makes it special, she replied, her curly hair bouncing as she spoke. As the app began to take shape, I worked on it during every spare moment. I wanted it to be a tool for students to manage their money wisely and avoid the pitfalls I had encountered. Months passed, and I couldn't believe my ears when investors started showing interest. This is really happening, I told Maya one evening, my voice trembling with excitement. They like my app. Of course they do, she grinned. It's brilliant and it's real, you lived it, Layla. But even in the highs, I felt the sting of my family's absence. It had been 4 years since I last spoke to Mom and Dad. I had chosen my path, away from them for better or worse. As graduation day approached, excitement filled the air. Yet I felt an ache in my heart. I wouldn't be celebrating with my parents. Are you ready for tomorrow? Maya asked, nudging me gently. I am, I said, but a heaviness lingered. But I wish they could be here. I know, but you have your chosen family here, she reminded me, taking my hands. I'm proud of you, we're proud of you. As I walked across the stage in my cap and gown, my heart raced. I glanced out into the crowd, hardly able to believe this moment was real. Strangers cheered, but I longed for familiar faces. I knew my parents wouldn't be there. When I finally received my diploma, I was flooded with a wave of emotions. I did it, I whispered to myself, tears brimming. After the ceremony, I found Maya waiting with a huge bouquet of flowers. Congratulations, graduate, she said, beaming. Thank you, Maya. I laughed, feeling the joy wrap around us. Let's have a celebration, she suggested eagerly. Just us. Yeah, let's do it, I exclaimed. We headed to a little cafe I loved, filled with memories of late-night studying and laughter. As we settled in, I took a deep breath. This is perfect, I said. We toasted with our drinks, excitement buzzing in the air. To new beginnings, Maya cheered. To new beginnings, I echoed, feeling a wave of hope wash over me. As we celebrated, I thought of my journey. The struggles, the choices, and the absence of my parents weighed heavily on me, but I knew I was moving forward. Leela, Maya said softly, interrupting my thoughts. You've accomplished so much. None of this defines you except your own hard work. Thank you, Maya, for always believing in me, I said, my heart swelling. She had become my family. I realized I had finally found my path. It was mine, built on my dreams and my resilience, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. 7 years after graduation, I had transformed my college project into a successful financial education platform. Young people were learning from my experiences. My heart swelled with pride every time someone said my app had helped them. One bright morning, I was sipping coffee at my office when a letter arrived. I unfolded it carefully, my heart racing. Dear Leela, it began. "We've been watching your journey from a distance. We are filled with regret for how we treated you. We would like the chance to meet." My stomach twisted as I read the words. My parents wanted to meet, after all this time. I set the letter down, trying to process my feelings. Confusion washed over me. I hadn't spoken to them in years. Did they really mean it? Maya noticed my unease. "What's wrong, Leela?" she asked, sensing the shift in my mood. "I got a letter from my parents," I replied, my voice a mixture of shock and doubt. "What did it say?" she inquired, leaning closer. "They want to meet. They've been following my success," I said, my heart racing. "That's a lot," Maya said. "Are you going to meet them?" "I don't know," I admitted, torn between anger and curiosity. What if it's just more empty words? "You deserve to find out, but it's your decision," she said gently. "I'll support you no matter what." After days of thinking, I finally decided to meet them. I chose a cafe near my company headquarters, a neutral spot. On the day of the meeting, my palms were sweaty as I walked in. I spotted them sitting at a corner table. My heart raced. "Leela," my mom exclaimed, standing up as I approached. "Hi," I said quietly, hesitant. My dad stood up too, looking older and more worn than I remembered. "It's good to see you," he said, looking nervous. "Yeah," I replied, my voice flat. "I got your letter." They both looked at me, their eyes full of hope and fear. My mom took a breath. "We're so sorry, Leela, for everything. We have spent years trying to make amends. Watching you from afar has been painful." "Painful for you," I said sharply. "What about the pain you caused me? You took my future." "I know," my dad said, looking down, guilt washing over his face. "We were wrong. We see that now." My mom wiped her eyes, tears spilling down her cheeks. "We thought we were helping Ethan, but we hurt you in the process. We never wanted to lose you." I felt a knot in my throat. "You did lose me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I had to build my life without you." "We want a chance to be part of your life again," she said, her voice trembling. I wanted to scream, to run away, but instead I felt a wave of sadness wash over me. "It's not that simple," I whispered, my heart heavy. "I understand, Leela," my dad said. "We just want to fix the damage we caused." Part of me wanted to believe them, to hope for a family again. But another part of me felt the walls I had built around my heart. "Fixing things takes time," I finally said, staring down at my coffee. "I can't just forget everything." My mom nodded, tears still in her eyes. "We're willing to wait, if you'll let us." The silence grew thick between us. I felt a mix of emotions swirling, anger, pity, hesitation. "I need more time to think," I said finally. "This is a lot to process." "Of course," my dad replied softly, his face filled with understanding. "We'll be here whenever you're ready." As I stood to leave, I felt a mix of emptiness and relief. It hadn't been the resolution I hoped for, but perhaps it was a step. Walking out of the cafe, I felt lighter and heavier at the same time. I had faced them. I had spoken my truth, but could I ever fully forgive them? I wasn't sure, but I knew I was stronger than before, and I was determined to move forward, regardless of my past. 11 years had passed since my life changed forever when I discovered my college fund was taken. I had built my life on resilience, creating a successful financial education platform that helped countless young people. I thought I had closed that door for good. Then one ordinary afternoon, as I was going through my emails, the office door swung open. My heart dropped. There stood my parents and Ethan, looking nervous but determined. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice a mix of shock and confusion. "Can we talk, Leela?" my mom said, glancing at the entrance as if worried someone might overhear. I stood frozen for a moment, then nodded, motioning for them to follow me into a conference room. "This better be important," I warned them, crossing my arms. Once inside, my dad cleared his throat, looking serious. "We know this is unexpected, but we've been working on something we want to share with you." "What is it?" I asked, my curiosity piqued but still cautious. Ethan stepped forward, looking calmer and more mature than I remembered. We've started a family business focused on financial literacy, inspired by you, Leela. I blinked, taken aback. Inspired by me? What does that even mean? We want to provide education to families about financial planning, he explained. We've seen the impact your work has had, and we want to help others. Why now? I challenged. Why didn't you do this before ruining my college fund? We were lost, my mom admitted, her eyes glistening with sincerity. We didn't understand the importance of what you were building until it was too late. Ethan's voice trembled as he continued. I want to offer you my share of the business. It's worth well over $80,000 plus interest for everything you lost. I can't change the past, but I want to at least try to make things right. My breath caught in my throat. You're giving me money, after everything. I'm not just giving you money. I'm giving you a chance to join us in this mission, Ethan said earnestly. To work together, to heal. Torn between disbelief and a flicker of hope, I felt my heart race. You really think I can work with you, after everything? I know this is a big ask, Ethan replied, stepping closer, vulnerability etched in his features. But this business is about creating a legacy that can help families for generations. It would mean the world to us if you'd join. I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, sadness, and disbelief crashed within me. Why should I trust you? You were the one who took my future. I shot back, my voice thick with pain. I know, Ethan said, lowering his gaze. And it still haunts me. But I've changed, Leela. I want to show you that I'm serious about this. I need time to think, I replied, my stomach churning. My mom leaned in, tears spilling down her cheeks. Leela, we're so sorry for everything. We want to be better to support you. This is our chance to be a family again. I don't know if I can do this, I admitted, feeling the weight of my decision pressing down on me. To join forces after all the hurt. Ethan nodded, his expression one of understanding. We'll never fully erase the past, but we can create something good together. You don't have to decide right now. Just know that the door is open. I stood there, grappling with conflicting feelings. The pain of the past and the possibility of healing loomed over me like a heavy cloud. I had worked so hard to build my independence. Was I willing to risk that for a chance at reconciliation? As they left the room, I felt the gravity of their decision. I looked around the empty conference room, thinking about the family I once had, the family I had lost, and the one that suddenly stood before me again. Could I take the leap, or would I choose to close that chapter of my life forever? I didn't know the answer yet, but deep down, I sensed a storm of change was coming, and whatever I chose would shape my future in ways I couldn't even imagine.